Joining us, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani.
Sure.
Sir, good to see you. Let's talk. You've been involved. Let's first confirm John Solomon's report. You didn't get involved in this on your own. Did our State Department ask you to go on a mission for them?
They did. I was called
you were
by
a good
the State
citizen, and you went.
The State Department called me and said, would I take a call from Mr. Yermak, who's number 2 or 3 to the president-elect, now the president. I was put together with Mr. Yermak. I talked to him. He gave me enormously important facts. I conveyed them all to the State Department. Unlike the media lies, fake news, I wasn't operating on my own. I was operating at the request of the State Department.
Do a mission for them.
And I have to tell you, John, I knew this back in November. Somebody came to me and told me this entire fact pattern back in November. I think I told you in January.
You told me.
I told you that Biden was involved in very, very horrible corruption. Shocking to me.
What do you think of that tape?
I know people have a hard time. You know, I'm a Republican, but I would feel the same way if I was a Republican. A Republican vice president of the United States selling out the country this way, using his office for money, it's disgraceful. I mean, Spiro Agnew got thrown out of office for $10,000. This guy was collecting millions and billions. He's negotiating with China, and the kid gets $1.5 billion. I don't want to pick on the kid, but you give $1.5 billion to a guy that got thrown out of the military for drug addiction just a couple of days before.
Let me throw a couple of facts.
You give a drug addict $1.5 billion?
No.
Unless you're trying to bribe his father?
No background in private equity. No background with China.
Yeah, and
no background in Ukraine.
And a seriously disturbed person.
No background in Ukraine. No background in oil and gas.
In handling money
or energy.
China's not stupid. They don't put $1.5 billion in the hands of, you know, the 3 partners in that firm? A kid who got thrown out of the military for being a drug addict, Kerry's stepson, and Whitey Bulger's nephew. I said Whitey Bulger. If that didn't jump out at this press corps, Whitey Bulger, what's he doing involved in this? This stinks to high heaven. It's a disgrace. It'll be one of the big American scandals when it's eventually uncovered because, as Mr. Schweiker said, it's a pattern. It's not just Ukraine. It's Ukraine and China, and they cash in wherever Joe is made the point man. You can't escape the pattern. And Sean, I told you this was going to happen.
You did.
It's going to get much worse. I guarantee it.
I guarantee it.
There's plenty more evidence. There are documents. There are tapes.
The vice president told me.
There's a completely money laundered transaction. The way he got paid $3 million of that money he was cashing in on, the money went from Ukraine to Latvia to Cyprus to the U.S. And I'll add to what my friend John Solomon said. Another reason why the prosecutor got in trouble was he found the fact pattern, the money laundering, clear money laundering. That's what drug dealers do. I investigated many of those, and they use Cyprus a lot. Why does this kid get paid? You send him a wire, right? You get paid by wire or by check. I get paid by wire or by check.
And they take out all my taxes, Mr.
My
Mayor.
money doesn't go to Latvia, Cyprus, the U.S., unless you are doing money laundering, which is a federal crime. Except if it's Joe Biden and Joe Biden's son.
Here's my question.
Because they have the Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton immunity from this corrupt press corps.
Let's look at what Biden bragged about. I told him, you got 6 hours. 6 hours. You're not getting the billion unless you fire a prosecutor.
Stupidest thing. What he did, when I saw that, when I saw that, I said, I always knew he was stupid. I didn't realize he was that stupid. Because with the fact pattern that was below that, you keep your mouth shut about it. There are documents. There's a paper trail. There's a money trail. There's a $1.5 billion from China. And this idiot is bragging about getting the guy thrown out because he's got some kind of hero complex. It's the same thing in a couple of his other fantasies. I don't know what's wrong with him. But this was a sellout of the office of Vice President of the United States. And if President Trump had not pushed, he wouldn't be a good president.
Address this.
He is not. Joe Biden
You're the
is
president's
no
lawyer.
longer. Joe Biden is no longer just a candidate for president of the United States. He's a vice president of the United States who had his family use his office to sell out America.
I'm running out of time. There was no quid pro quo.
That's a disgrace.
There was no
Republican or Democrat.
Agreed.
It's a disgrace.
Totally. The president did not offer a quid pro quo.
Did not. No quid pro quo. No money. The whole story has fallen apart, Sean. The original story was President Trump told President Zelensky, I'm not going to give you $250 million for military aid unless you investigate Joe Biden. 2 days later, the false report, the false reporters and the lying whistleblower corrected.
The non-whistleblower.
The whistle unblower.
Second hand, yeah.
That blew back on him. Correction. No mention of $250 million. No mention of military aid. No quid pro quo. And now, on the other side, President Zelensky and his foreign minister have said that the conversation was completely appropriate, and there was no pressure. Now, for any crime to be committed, the victim has to be pressured. Has to be him. He has to feel. When I prosecuted extortion, one of the things I had to show was you felt threatened. If you didn't feel threatened, it doesn't care if Adam Schiff felt threatened. You have to be threatened. No crime, no wrongdoing. Not only that, it would be inconsistent with the office of president not to demand a full accounting of a vice president taking down billions while he's working for the United States.
Mr. Mayor,
Republican or Democrat.
Agreed.
This makes Spiro Agnew look like a small-time criminal.